Dear students, welcome back to the online sessions on DCCN. So we will be going with the error correction techniques, and we have almost reached to the flag end of the unit number 2. So after we complete this error correction techniques, we'll be completing unit number 2 and we'll be switching over to the unit 3 from next class onwards. So error detection we discussed in the previous class. There are four basic techniques of error detection techniques known as the vertical redundancy check, longitudinal redundancy check, CRC code, and checksum. So these four are the basic techniques, and among these four basic techniques, CRC and checksum are the very popular techniques for the industry implementations. So CRC is mostly used. Checksum is also going to be mostly used in the industry. So therefore, in the exam also, these two methods are going to be very much important to understand. So that is the reason why I just discussed one problem on the CRC and one more problem we discussed on the checksum. So at the transmitter side, we have to generate the code using the using some redundancy techniques for CRC as well as checksum, and we transmit this redundant code along with the data by the transmitter. Then the receiver receives the same bits and it is going to once again recalculate its CRC code. If the receiver after recalculation CRC code, if it normally going to find 0, then it finds that there is no error in the transmitted bits. Similarly, same is the case with the checksum. At the receiver side, if the receiver finds 0 after finding out its own checksum, then it is understood by the receiver that there are no bits which are erroneous. That means all bits received by the receiver are all correct bits. So that is what the understanding for the regarding the error detection techniques. So apart from error detection, to some extent, see, one possibility is that whenever the receiver detects that there is an error in this particular packet of data frames, it simply sends a negative acknowledgement to the sender stating that this particular packet is erroneous, please retransmit. Then the sender will simply retransmit the same number of bits to the receiver. So this is how the handshaking normally going to take place whenever a data communication is normally going to happen. So apart from this, instead of the receiver continuously ask the sender for retransmission of the corrupted data bits, if it could able to correct some of the bits, it is always better at the receiver side itself. That is what called error correction techniques. So we have, in the part of error correction techniques, we have two methods in the error correction techniques, so which are also important for us. One is going to be single bit error correction method. Next one is going to be a Hamming error correction method. So using these two methods, we can correct single bit of error in the transmitted data bits. So this is what a concept which is important. So Hamming code is already discussed in the previous sessions. I mean, in your STLD subject, in your DLD subjects, you might have the Hamming code technique. So exactly same code is being repeated here. In the case of data communications as well, same code you have to simply explain here in terms of the binary bits, taking 8 bits of data, and you should simply explain this Hamming code. Okay, now other method is going to be single bit error correction method. So this is somewhat new here, so that's why I want to discuss single bit error correction code. Hamming code is same as the DLD method, Hamming code method. So DLD Hamming code method, so you can just refer DLD once again and you can just retrace, because you already went through that particular technique already in the DLD subject. So therefore I'm not looking into that Hamming code exercise part. So I'll be discussing on single bit error correction part here. So error detection, error correction is going to be a vital part of the communication systems. So apart from transmitting data in a given time and receiving data in a stipulated time, error detection and error correction are also going to be an important vital part in the communication systems. especially in the data communication systems. So when I say data communication system, what I mean by saying data communication system, it is nothing but the computer to computer communication or mobile to mobile communication. So any electronic communication is what called a data communication for that matter. So error correction can be done. Error detection we have seen. In the case of error detection, the receiver will detect that is there any error or not there on the received bits. That's what the receiver is going to cross check before it simply accepts the data totally into its system. So that's how that detection is process is normally being used. So next one is going to be that error correction method. Instead of the receiver continuously asking for retransmission of the data, if the receiver could able to correct the erroneous bits, it should be in a position to correct. So imagine if the error bit is going to be only single bit, the receiver itself should find out which bit has got error so that it can correct by its own without continuously or repeatedly asking the sender to retransmit the data. If the errors is going to be a small number, 1 2 or 3 or 4 bits, so the receiver should be in a position to recorrect those errors. Then that system is normally going to be an efficient system. Why? Because continuously if retransmission is normally going to take place, the shared medium will be the throughput in the shared medium is definitely going to decrease drastically. So therefore, we have to compulsorily ensure that there's going to be a sufficiently very good throughput. At least more than 50% of throughput is always mandatory from the shared medium. So that is why to incorporate all these things in the shared medium with data communication terminals. So we need to have error correction as well. Just to decrease the load on the shared medium, we need to have that. Okay. So let us go with these two parts now. Let us go with these techniques now. Already we discussed about error detection methods and we go with error correction methods. And in error detection in the syllabus, we have 4 methods: VRC, LRC, CRC, and checksum. In error correction method, we have 2 methods: single bit error correction method and Hamming code error correction method. So therefore, let us look into this now. First of all, what the receiver will do, a receiver can use error correcting code which automatically corrects certain errors. So this is what I was talking to you. The receiver can use its own error correcting code methods. It corrects the errors automatically. So receiver can request to transmitter for retransmission of data unit in case the erroneous bit is going to be more than 1 bit. That means this situation is somewhat better than the earlier situation. In the earlier situation, the earlier in the sense, error detection case. In the case of error detection, whenever receiver finds that the data is erroneous data, it will simply ask for retransmission. The receiver will ask for retransmission. But here, it will first of all cross check for error correction. If at all, in this case, a single bit of error is normally there in the received bits, the receiver itself is going to correct those errors. That is how the benefit, a little bit of benefit is normally going to be there here at the receiver side. Okay, anyway, so let us go ahead with that now. So we have seen already this LRC, VRC code. So what is the technique which is being used in that? We have used a parity bit checking here. There in the case of VRC and LRC, both of them we used a parity, even parity or odd parity conditions we have checked, and both transmitter and receiver should really accept the appropriate parity conditions. Thereby, the effective communication is normally going to happen between transmitter and the receiver. Okay. So here, similar to the case with LRC and VRC, it is seen that a single parity bit is normally sufficient to detect error in the data. That means same method is being incorporated for error correction method as well. That is, a single parity bit is normally sufficient to detect the error in the data. So once you detect the error, the location of the error, then you can correct the error, because in fact it is only transmission of ones and zeros. If a particular bit location is error, that means if it is 0 earlier, it can made into 1. If it is 1, with error, you can make it to 0. So, but it cannot detect the erroneous bit in data. So to locate the position of the erroneous bit, more extra bits or redundant bits are normally necessary. So here also we use the redundant method to detect and correct the errors. So here in the case of correction also, we have to first of all detect the location of the error, then you have to correct the error. That means somewhat we are detecting and correcting, both we are doing simultaneously in the case of the error correction methods. In the case of error detection, only we are detecting the error, that's it. But here we are moving a step ahead towards correcting a single bit of error. That is what the extra uh, thing we are really doing it here in the case of the error correction methods. See, these bits carried in general, redundant bits does not carry any information, but they certainly carry information related to the erroneous bits. That means here these are nothing but the bits which don't have any information, but they are nothing but the extra bits or redundant bits which we use to correct the errors in the data frame, data bits transmitted. So let us go with an example now. So let us imagine that we want to send an ASCII character of which is going to have 7 bits. Now there may be 8 possibilities of errors. So what are the 8 possibilities of errors? These 7 bits are going to have 7, that means bit number 1 to bit number 7. 7 errors are going to be there. Apart from this, if there is no error, then it should say that there is no error. So put together, there are going to be 8 possibilities of error, like no error, error in the first position, error in the second position, so on up to error in the 7th position. So like that, 7 error bit positions along with no error. So put together, it will be 8 error possibilities. So to represent the position of error, some extra bits are required. So this is what redundancy, what we mean. The decimal equivalent of which will indicate the position of the error. So here these extra bits are compulsorily needed, called as redundant bits, where the decimal equivalent of that redundant bits what we compute will really indicate the position of the error. Then the receiver will simply invert that particular bit after it really locates the position of the error. So this is what the point of discussion now. So first of all, what we have to do now, we have to first of all see that number of bits, how many bits are there, and we have to figure out how many redundant bits are normally required enough to find out the error in the data which is transmitted. So that is what the main performance design bottleneck for this particular error correction problem. So to detect a 7-bit ASCII error, how many are sufficient? 3 bits are sufficient. 2 power 3 is normally going to give us 8. That means if the data bits are going to be, let us say 7, 1 bit is going to be no error bit, so 8 bits. So to indicate 8 bits, that means 8 position errors, 3 bits are sufficient. So that means if you consider small m is going to be the data bits, and if you consider small r is going to be the redundant bits or extra bits, then how many that means 3 bits. Say for example, if you take m is equal to 7, 3 is sufficient here. So 7 plus 3 is equal to 10 bits are normally sufficient enough to locate the errors. Now here the value 0 will indicate no error, other values will indicate the position of the error. That is what we will be calculating now. But 3 redundant bits are not sufficient for detecting all the errors, because if m bits are got corrupted, if any one bit in m bits got corrupted, this particular scheme with 3 redundant bits is normally going to correct the errors. But on the other hand, if the redundant bits is itself are going to get corrupted, then it cannot really detect that. Okay. So therefore, we should really enlarge the redundant bits to 4 instead of 3. If you got 4, 2 power 4, 2 power 4 means 16. Now how many bits are forming here? How many bits are forming here? That is M is 7, R is 4. So 7 plus 4, that is going to be 11 bits plus 1, 0 order. That means 12 error positions or 12 error possibilities can be detected by using 4 redundant bits. So that means here we have to use more than what is required to more than one, that is required to detect the errors which is there in the actual bits that we are going to transmit. Say if you are going to transmit m number of bits, for this m number of bits, how many bits we need to have, that we have to figure out first. How can we figure out that? Say if m is equal to 7, if m is equal to 7, 2 power 3, if you take 3 redundant bits, how many possibilities we'll get for 3 redundant bits? It is 2 power 3, 8 possibilities. So using these 8 possibilities, we can locate the error bit positions. We can locate 7 error bit positions. Thereby, we can simply correct that particular bit position. But if the error is going to take place in redundancy also, now this is not going to give a solution to that. That is why we have to increase R value to more than 1 than it is required with m number of bits. That is the Fonda logic over here. So say if you take m here, so you should take R is going to be more than that. It means I stick myself to m is equal to 7 bits, R is going to be 3 bits. So therefore, I'll go with m plus R plus 1 I have to use, because just now we have seen one more bit is required for no error position, no error possibility. So therefore, m plus R plus 1 has to be there. And the possibilities are going to be how many? 2 power R should be compulsorily greater than or equal to this number. Then only you can really take that many number of redundant bits for error correction. So we'll take that extra bits for error correction, called redundant bits for error correction. So now let us say take m is equal to 7. If you take m is equal to 7, then using this equation, what is the smallest possibility of finding the error checking is going to be definitely 4 bits are required. That is the smallest possibility, because if you take R is equal to 3, what happens? It is 2 power 3 is equal to 2 power 3 is equal to 8. This is going to be 7 plus 3 plus 1. It is more than 8. So that is 11. So 8 is not greater than 11. So this condition is false. Therefore, we'll take R is equal to 4. If you take 4, it becomes 16. 16 is greater than 12. 16 is greater than 12. So therefore, this is normally going to accommodate the error correction techniques for us definitely. So therefore, we have to choose R going to be equal to 7 in this particular problem to find out error in any one of the locations. So M is going to be what now? M is 7 bits. See here, M is 7 bits. R is 4 bits. So 7 plus 4 is going to be 11. So therefore, we have to form 11 bits. See 1, 2, 3, 4, so on up to 11 bits have been formed here. Now they are arranged in this particular format. This format is important for this particular single bit of information. So this is what very much essential or important for all of us to really take care. So here where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so on up to 11 are the bit positions that the transmitter is going to send, or a sender is going to send, or a transmit. So once sender is going to transmit these bits, now we arrange R is nothing but the extra bits or redundant bits. They are known as extra bits or redundant bits. Now D is nothing but data bits, actual data bits. So R1, R2, I got D1 here, then R3, D2, D3, D4, data bits, then R4. That means 4 number of error bits, redundant bits have been arranged like this. 4 error bits have been simply arranged like this. Now these positions you should remember: R1, R2 at position 1 and 2, R3 at position 4, then R4 at position 8. Okay. That means the code is going to be 1248 code. Remember this 1248 code. That means you should arrange the redundant bits in the form of 1248 code fashion. 1248 means what? Position, bit positions there. At bit position 1 and 2, you're going to have redundant bits. At bit number 4, redundant bits, that is 2 power 0, 2 power 1. Okay, this is 2 power 2 is 4. 2 power 3 is 8. If you're going to have one more redundant bit, say for example 5, then you should take 2 power, this is 2 power 3, 2 power 4. 16th location, you're going to have one more redundant bit. So in between, you write down the data bits in sequence. That is D1, the gap is left over D2, D3, D4, gap is left over something like D5, D6, D7. So like this, we fill all the bit positions like this. Now, first of all, you have to form this particular format, because the data bits are arranged in this format. This format is very much crucial and very much important for us. All right. Now, next is R bit, R1 bit positions, R1 bit set position 1 3 5 7 9 11. So what is the gap here in between these two? It's going to be 2 2. It's going to be 2. So in terms of 2 2 gap, we normally going to have this R2 bit position set position 2 3 6 7 10 and 11. And R3 bit set position 4 5 6 7. R4 bit set position, you need not bother about this because we are not going to look much. Now here what we do is for calculating the even parity bits, we are normally going to use these positions. These positions are required for calculating the even parity bits. So that means using this order, we find out the even parity bit positions. So by finding out the equivalent, the binary decimal equivalent of that binary number, we have to find out the position of the erroneous data in this particular logic. So you should remember this order, that is R1 is going to have an order of 1 3 5 7 9 11. This is a simply odd number of bits we are going to have. Then 2 3 6 7 10 11. That means after 2 3 there is a gap of 4 5. After 7 there is a gap of 8 9. That means two numbers in between is a gap. Here it is one number gap. Here after repeating two numbers, see already we have started with 1, no? So that is 1 2 4 8. What is the code here actually for redundancy? We have 1 2 4 8 code. So we start with 1 and leaving 1 1 bits, we write the rest of the codes. In the case of R2, this is 2, no? That means you should leave 2 2 bits. That means you should write for 2 2 bits. 2 2 bits means what? I'll write 2 3. Then I have to leave 2 bits in between. That is 4 and 5. I'll write 6 and 7. Leave 2 bits. Write 2 bits in sequence. Similarly, R3 bit positions. So we start with 4 here. We have to start with 4 because 1 2 4 8 code now we have. So we have to start with 4. So here 4 means we normally going to write it for 4 number of bits in sequence. Then we give a gap of 4. That means 4 5 6 7. Then we have to give a gap of 8 9 10 11 has to be given gap. From 12 we have to continue, but we got numbers only up to 11. If you got numbers up to 16, then we have to write after 7 we have to write from 12, because 8 9 10 11 has to be skipped. Okay, from 12 you have to start. 12 13 14 15 you have to write it here. Next is R4 bits at position. We start with 8 next sequence, because 1 2 4 8 code it is. So we should write it for continuously for. Now here it is, we are repeating it for 4. We are repeating it for 2 because it is going to be 2 starting with 2 code. It is starting with 8. That means you should write continuously 8 numbers here. Okay, that means 8 9 10 11. Four more you have to write: 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If at all you got up to 16 numbers, you can write here up to 15. So like that, we arrange the parity bits. Now this logic, that means you should remember the logic. If you don't know the logic, then you get stuck while writing about the uh, bit positions at for R1, R2, R3, R4. That means I want to find out R1 at the receiver. I want to find out R2 at the receiver. I want to find out R3 at the receiver. I want to find out R4 at the receiver. So how the receiver will find out? Receiver will find out based on this particular logic. So you should remember this logic. If your logic is remembered, you are done. Fantastic it is. If it is not remembered, then the problem comes into picture. So you cannot really understand how to write this, because if the redundancy bits are going to increase to 4, increase to 5 or 6, then you will get stuck here. If you mug up this for 4 bits of redundancy, if in the exam if it is given for 5 bits, then you cannot write the answer for this just by remembering this particular sequence, right? So that is why incorporate this logic. So I repeat the logic once again. R1 means what? How you write R1? See, first of all, write down R1, R2, R3, R4. Then nothing but bit set positions, various positions. Now you have to consider all these bits, all these bit positions to find out R1 at receiver. You have to use all these bit positions to find out R2 at receiver. You have to use all these bit positions to find out R3 at receiver. Like that, you have to use all these things. So R1 bit positions, how we'll write? We start with, so initially it is a 1248 code. So write down for R1 starting bit is 1, R2 2, R3 4. Okay, this is the fourth bit, right? R3 4. Then R4 is going to be 8. So it's going to be 1248 code. After this is going to be of only one parity difference. So therefore, you leaving one, you should write another next number. Leaving one, write another number. That means what? 1, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. So between these numbers, you got only one number in between. That is skipped. Similarly, for R2, we'll write two numbers in sequence. Then we leave two numbers. Then two numbers in sequence, leave two numbers. Like that we repeat. That means 2, 3 we'll write. Starting point anyway we know, because it is 1248 code. So 2 we start, 2, 3. Then 4, 5 we skip. 6, 7 will write. 8, 9 will skip. 10, 11 will write. Similarly, see here, we are starting with 4. So as we are starting with 4, you should write continuously 4 numbers. You have to skip the 4 subsequent numbers. Like that, you have to write this code. So 4, 5, 6, 7 is the numbers, bit positions. Then you have to skip 8, 9, 10, 11, you have to skip. We got only up to 11. So therefore, we got stop here. R4 means we start with 8 and we have to write the numbers in sequence for 8 numbers if at all there. That means 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 is the last digit position. So we stop over there. So like that, we simply write the bit positions for R1, R2, R3, and R4 for the receiver. Now we have to calculate the R value. That means steps for calculating the value of R now. Now all D values we can replace by original bit positions, original message bits. R values are replaced by zeros. So this forms the initial code word for us in general. So next, that means these are the various steps as the receiver will do. First of all D values are replaced by the original data bits, whatever data bits given to us in the problem. Okay, so sometimes this is given in the, as a problem also. So therefore, you should figure out these. You should compulsory understand these steps. First step is what? Write down the message bits, whatever given. Say, if it is 7 bits, at the appropriate locations, write down the bit values. Then all R values are replaced by zeros. Replace all the R values. This is R1, R2. See here, R3, R4. Replace all the R values by zeros. And this is going to be the initial code word that is received by the receiver. The next, You have to calculate C1, C2, C3 and C4 are recalculated as given below to form the even parity bits. Now to form this even parity bit, what is the logic we are going to use? The same logic just now we discussed. See here, this see R1 bit position, instead of R1 I have written here, this is correction code. So error correction code C1 I can write as equal to, I'll write this as C1 XOR with C3 XOR with C5 XOR with C7 XOR with C9 XOR with C11. That means same bit positions I am going to use. Okay, 1 3 1 1 3 5 7 9 11. See here, C1 1 3 5 7 9 11. Here I got 2 3 6 7 10 11. 2 3 6 7 10 11 bit combinations. So all these I perform with XOR operations. So you know the truth table of XOR gate. XOR gate means what? If either one of the two inputs are same, if both the inputs are same, output is normally equal to 0. That is what the truth table. If if two inputs are not same, then output is normally equal to 1. If two inputs are opposite to each other, then output is equal to 1. If two inputs are same, output is equal to 0. That is the basic XOR truth table. So we should simply follow the truth table here to find out the uh, error values at the receiver side. Let us try to solve one problem now. A little problem has been given here. Using this problem, we'll try to figure out the operation of this particular single bit error correcting code. Okay. So receiver does 3 steps operations as we discussed just now. What are the 3 steps? These are 3 steps. Write down all the R value, D values, R values, find out the error correction bits like this. So stated above, on the code word some C, after this operation, the bit combinations such as just now we found out C8, C4, C2, C1, that means 8421 code fashion represents the binary number, which corresponds to the decimal number. We can find out decimal number corresponding to this particular binary sequence, 8421 code. So if the binary number is 0, sorry, if the decimal number is 0, 8421 code is a binary number. So this the equivalent decimal number, if it is 0, then we say that there is no error in the transmitted data. In case if decimal number is some n value, then we conclude that the nth bit is a error bit. So that is the problem we have. So let us take one problem now. Suppose data bits are going to be like this: 1001101. So I'll enhance this size now. Yeah. Look at this now. Suppose the data bits are going to be 1001101 are sent by the transmitter. Now this is nothing but the actual code, initial code transmitted by the transmitter. Now we'll write the code in the form of this one. That means first of all, write down the redundant bits in the bit positions. That is redundant bits where we'll write 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 8 code. This is 1, 2, 4, 8 code now. So at 1 we write 0. At second position we write 0. See, this is C2 means at second position, right? So one position, second position, fourth position 0, and eighth position 0. These are the redundant bits. So initially we assume that redundant bits are not having any errors. So next we'll write the data bits that is given to us. Data bits are what? 1 0 1 1 0 0 1. See here 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 0 1. So these are the bits we have written 0 0 1. That means in sequence this is D1, D2, D3, D4. This is LSB and this is going to be MSB. We already know from the STLD basics. So we just go with the same logic. Okay. DLD logic only we go ahead for representing the numbers and replacing the numbers with appropriate values. Okay, then we'll find out the error bits. at the receiver side. Receiver will calculate like this. C1 is equal to what? C1 is equal to C1 XOR with C3 XOR with C5 XOR with C7 XOR with C9 XOR with C11. So that means what is the value you're going to get? 0 XOR with 1, it is 1. 1 XOR with 0, 1. 1 XOR with 1, 0. 0 XOR with 0, 0. 0 XOR with 1, 1. So I got the result as 1. Similarly, C2. C2 means what? 2, 3. What is 2? What is 3? 0, 1. 2, 3. After 2, 3, 4, 5, you have to deduct. You have to start from 6. So 6 is 1, 6, 7. So 6, 7 is 1, 1. After 6, 7, deduct 2, 8 and 9 skip. Then 10, 11, 0, 1, 10, 11, 0, 1 I put here. Now, XOR operation means what? 0 XOR with 1, it is 1. 1 XOR with 1, 0. 0 XOR with 1, 0 XOR with 1, 1. 1 XOR with 0, 1. 1 XOR with 1 is 0. So like this C4 and C8 we can represent. So I got the code as what now? 1001. So finally, whatever C1 I have got, just now I got C1 as 1. We replace the C1 bit, this one as 1. C2 remained as 0. C4 remained as 0. C8. C8 I replace this with 1. Now this is the code I have now. So that means what is the code that I'm going to have now? This is 100. C8 is 1. I replace C8 over here. Then C7, C6, it is going to be 1, 1. Then C5 is 0. What about C4? C4 is also 0. So 0 as it is 0. Okay. So C1 has been changed. C1 is going to change here. So before that 0, this is 1. Okay. So like this, we can write the entire code in this format. Now, let us look into the error part of the combinations now. Suppose that the 7th bit has undergone an error. 7th bit has undergone an error. Then in that case, so the received word becomes what now? How the received word normally becomes? It should be something like, see, this is something like 100, 11, all 11, all 7th bit means what? 0, 1, 2, 3. Sorry. 7th bit means what? 1, 2. This is 7th bit. So 7th bit means it's going to be 7 means what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th bit. See here, 7th bit is 1. This 7th bit has made equal to 0 here. Now, once it is made equal to 0, we calculate this particular code. We calculate this particular code. And this code is resembling the value as something like what? 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. I can write it like this. The decimal equivalent of this is equal to 7, which in turn presents the position of the error. That means 7th bit is error. We have to invert that particular 7th bit. Thereby, we normally going to get that particular bit over there. So like this, we simply going to find out the error. That means here, this particular method is simply explaining us whenever the data m bits or data bits, any one of data bit is corrupted, that can be easily corrected by the receiver, so that receiver don't ask the sender to retransmit the same bit frames, because it has corrected the error and it has simply accepted the data transmitted by the sender, and the receiver is going to send a positive acknowledgement to the sender, so that sender need not retransmit the same set of packets, even though the receiver receives the erroneous data. Because it has corrected that error, it has simply accepted that as a positive data, or it simply sends a positive acknowledgement to the sender circuit. So this is what the procedure, very important procedure. So please practice this procedure once. Okay, you can just experiment this with more than 7 bits. You can go with 11 bits. If you go with 11 bits, so how many, if you go with 11 bits of data, so how many bits you have to take? So usually you try to take the bit positions in terms of 2 power 7 values. Maybe 1 bit less than that is fine. So 2 power 3 is 8. So 8 minus 1 is 7. 2 power 4 is 16. So 16 minus 1 is going to be 15. So you can take total data bits are going to be 15. Then you can use 2 power 5. Okay, then you normally going to get a very good data format, and accordingly we can able to explain that in the exam. Okay, so like that you have to explain this stuff in the exam, right? If at all problem is given, you have to do the problem. If at all problem is not given, okay, so you should explain them by taking a small amount of data like this, whatever I have taken. Take some random data of your choice and explain this at the this in the exam, for a erroneous data and for a non-erroneous data, how the receiver is normally going to accept the data or not. So like this we normally going to do the process. Then last code is going to be the Hamming code. So as I tell you, Hamming code is going to be exactly same as the code that we have used in the previous chapters that we already had. Okay, so I'm skipping this Hamming code business, because Hamming code is exactly same as the method we used in the uh, STLD subject. Okay, so we'll stop it here our session. So next session, one more point is there, like in the case of we're discussing on the functions of the data link layer. So in this process, we have covered line discipline, flow control methods, and last method is error control function of the data link layer. So error control means what? That is a one more method to control the error. That means if at all the data transmitted, if at all data received by the receiver is erroneous, then how the how does the two terminals are going to manage with such erroneous data? So just now we discussed about error correction and detection techniques. An extension to that is going to be this kind of techniques. Okay, in the next class we end up our session with second unit with the next class, after we conclude, after we speak about the error control techniques. Okay, so thank you very much for today's session.